City Council meeting of July 6th already. If everyone would please rise where you are at for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag, which will be immediately followed by the invocation by Reverend Karen Butler of Wings of Delivery Ministry. Reverend Butler, are you with us? Okay, well then, we will not do that. So we're going to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be immediately followed by a moment of silence for those that will make it for the 70 people from the city of Lincoln Park who have passed due to COVID-19. So, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. And if Reverend Butler makes it on to the meeting, we'll let her go ahead with her invocation at that time.
Bristol.
I'm sorry? So, okay. Next thing we have is roll call.
Councilpersons Dupre. Here. Higgins.
Here.
Kelsey.
Yes.
Ross. Here. Salcido.
Yes.
Colvin.
Here.
And Mayor Carnes.
Here. All right, then. Good evening, everyone. I hope that the 4th of July was nice for you. I mean, we had my family over, my kids over at my house, and the grandson just enjoying the heck out of himself. So I know that we had. And it sounds like a lot of people were having a good time also. But I think it's the anniversary is 245, I think was since 1776 or right around that time. But a big anniversary for the city of Lincoln Park was just this previous week. And it was 100 years ago that Lincoln Park became a village in 1921. So the very historic times are going. There were plans that we're going to have for a big gala and such, but COVID sort of took care of that. But we're going to have something in the future. And it did mention that we were turning 100 years old. I was fortunate to meet the Attorney General, Dana. You know what? Nessel, yeah. I lost her last name for a second. Don't tell her. Over at Ed had a little get-together for her last week, and she is a former prosecutor for us over at the 25th District Court when I was on the police department. And it's just, if you follow what she's done, she's really been an advocate for the everyday person with the amount of lawsuits and things that she has filed. So it's just very nice to meet her. She's the second Attorney General to visit Lincoln Park that I'm aware of. According to our city attorney, it was Frank Kelly was the one previous to that. Okay, since our last council meeting, we had what amounts to be one terrific storm that came through here. I think Lincoln Park was fortunate that we did not take the total brunt of it like Dearborn and I think Warren did. And Dearborn put out a mutual aid call for help for Department of Public Services to put, and it was on I think the 4th of July weekend, including the 4th of July, to help with the pickup of debris from people's basements that were out there. This was brought to my attention by John Kazoo, and then said that their guys wanted to go and take care of that. And to their credit, they went and they assisted Dearborn at their time of need. So kudos to our DPS director for bringing that up and ensuring it, and all of those guys that did go to help them. We've been in that situation before, when people have a lot of floodings in their basements, and it's never a good thing. And but it's nice for everybody to help out when in those circumstances. And speaking of helping out, we're going to have a park cleanup over at Council Point Park. It's going to be this Saturday at 9 a.m. If you're interested in coming, you can bring gloves, or a grabber would sort of help with the pickup of trash. And since we are on the creek, there are many people that bring their kayaks out and canoes for picking up the debris. So if you're I mean, we don't have any of those for distribution, but if you have your own and you want to come to help out, please come down and see us on that. Now, when we had our Memorial Day service at the Memorial Park, Carol Clementi looked at the flags that we had and thought that they could bear replacement. So today, I received 2 flags that flew over the state capitol to be placed at the War Memorial, thanks to Carol Clementi. And so, John, if we could get that done. And we were also in need of 2 POW MIA flags to go up there too. And John, if you're listening to that, the cords and everything need to be replaced there, just because it's looking in fairly bad shape. So I'll get those flags to John. And prior to this meeting, at 6:30, we had a meeting for traffic concerns in which the chief presented it. If you guys, when this is broadcast, as it was filmed, it's a good idea to pay attention to that, because the chief covered a lot of different things that going on with the status of the officers in the department, how they respond to calls and such. But in the end, it all boils down to you being good witnesses and to call in. Call in when you see, whether it be somebody that's driving on mini bikes or an ATV, or you have kids that are doing that, or somebody acting suspiciously. You need to call. Call the 381-1800 line and get that information out. All right, then I think that is enough for me, and we'll move on to the consent agenda. Yes, consent agenda before public hearing. So resolved that the following items listed under the consent agenda be approved as presented to the mayor and city council. 1, approved minutes, regular meeting held June 19, 2021. 2, approved minutes, public hearing held June 19, 2021, REDWRF. 3, solicit bids, camera system. 4, participation, residential rehab, exterior blight.
I'll move.
We have discussion?
Through the chair, we're reading through the cameras and the placement at the Kennedy Memorial Building. My concern is room B, which is used as a dressing room.
Do you want this, if we're going to discuss it, then we can have it pulled from the consent agenda.
Yes, please.
All right, then that would be item 9 under action items. All right. So we'll proceed. Is there further discussion on the rest of the consent agenda items? Okay. Then clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Cox.
Yes. Hang on just a second as I am setting aside the camera thing for later. Okay, we have a public hearing going for DBD, dangerous building properties. And I am just looking for something that isn't there. So we will call the public hearing to order at 7:41.
Your Honor, we're looking for Mr. Myers to step in.
We have discussion regarding dangerous buildings, 1765 Fort Park. Now with this, okay. And we're waiting for John Myers. John, are you on the call? Yes, calling you for an investigative report on 1765 Fort Park.
I'd be willing to leave this over to Judge Zelnick, Attorney Zelnick. We received over the holiday on the 5th a request from Attorney Ross that this, while we were doing dangerous building meetings for this property, the property was going through probate, and they had requested that we table this until the probate process is complete and then proceed from that point.
May I further elaborate for counsel, Your Honor? It would be my opinion, based upon the superiority of the probate court in this matter, which is an arm of the circuit court where any appeal would go, that they now have compelling jurisdiction on the property. It's part of Ms. Graff's estate. The correspondence I recently forwarded to counsel shows you the SEV of the property and the concurrence of Attorney Randall Ross, who's the attorney for the estate, in the eventual demolition of the property, but it would be pursuant to the probate court order, and the probate court ordered supervision or expenditure of funds for the demolition. So the city should, in my opinion, postpone or continue the hearing pending resolution, and you could diary it for 90 days to presume we would get an order and a demolition at that time. There have been further developments where Mr. Kazan might further elaborate, depending on what information he's received, but Mr. Myers and I were advised today that there's an intention of an adjacent property owner to then purchase it and join in the demolition to be a commercial property. The property has intrinsic value as vacant property, not for development. The building will be demolished either by order of the probate court or by relinquishing it back to the city of Lincoln Park. But at this point, it's my position we have no jurisdiction to move forward with demolition, that it's in the hands of the probate judge. It's Judge Perkins of the probate court, and Mr. Ross has provided that information to you. So I would ask counsel, as opposed to taking it off the agenda, just to continue the hearing and perhaps diary it for another 28 days or 2 months and come back and revisit it and see where the probate court stands at that time. In the event the estate is abandoned, the city does not forfeit its rights. The order of the Dangerous Buildings Board still stands. I realize that in that short comment I made, I paraphrased a bunch of legal concepts. I'm prepared to answer the questions for counsel if they have any. But in theory, Mr. Myers, I would ask you to pull it from the agenda and continue a hearing for another 28, 56, 62, whatever the days are, 2-3 months down the road.
your recommendation that we still have the item on the agenda?
Yes, that we just continue, you don't take it off, that the city does not relinquish its right, but understanding at this point the property is in the hands of the probate court. And I want to let council know that Mr. Myers did his due diligence, but there's no way he would know that parallel at the same time an estate was being opened and letters of authority were finally issued.
We'll carry on that conversation then when the matter
We're playing the
is brought up.
Yes, Your Honor.
777-yard par five.
I don't know if that had to do with the property or that was something else, Mr. Mayor, but if council has any further questions, my recommendation is that you move support to continue it for another, if you want to do 4 weeks or to the next, whatever.
When that comes up on the agenda,
Right.
we'll discuss that.
Oh, that's right, we just did the hearing now. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
At the
Thank you.
hearing. If,
Zelnick. I thought I heard him say no matter what the probate does, it's still going to be demolished. So how long has this building been vacant?
we're going to, this, the public hearing part of it, we will take care of that, Council President, when we have this matter up on the agenda, which is going to be in just 15 minutes or so after these.
Good.
But what I'm looking for now is are there any comments or objections to demolition of this structure? Okay, are there any comments or objections to demolition of this structure? Okay, so I'm hearing none. Then we will go on to the number 2 here, which is a discussion regarding dangerous building at 1755 Ford Boulevard. And Mr. Myers?
Mr. Myers, yes.
The only guidelines and requests of the dangerous building would be to grant them the right to renovate this non-conforming building under a number of stipulations. Stipulation number 1, in the next 14 days, they need to make the building worded and safe for communities. In other words, no open spaces, no access from the public to the building. Number 2, they need to provide a escrow account for the complete demolition cost if they do not comply with all guidelines established inside the regulation inside the next 14 days. Number 3, in 14 days, they must provide a set of architectural drawings for approval by the building department on the reconstruction and redesigning of the completion of this building. And then the 4th requirement will be they have 6 months to complete the entire remodeling, redesign, and provide a C of A, a certificate of approval for occupancy from this date. And that is our recommendation for the council from the dangerous building board.
Okay. Mr. Zelnick, do you have anything on there?
No, Mr. Mayor, it'd be appropriate to inquire if there are any comments or any questions for Mr. Myers at this time. And
I was handed here when I got here, it looks like it's from the city clerk's office, and there are petition with 33 signatures on it, and the title of the petition is, "We, the undersigned residents, homeowners of Ford Boulevard, City of Lincoln Park, hereby call upon the mayor and city council to reject any petition to request a rebuilding of this property at 1755 Ford Boulevard in order the said property be demolished. This building not only has been a nuisance, but is and has been a dangerous building for years." So we have,
Your Honor, that should be received and placed into the record, and perhaps, if I might ask Mr. Myers a couple of questions here.
yes.
And Mr. Myers, the first, in satisfying the statute, both with state law and local ordinance, is your opinion that the building is beyond rehabilitation and must be demolished immediately?
I do not believe that. It's been partially created and rebuilt and replaced. It's never finished. The structure of the building is sound enough to, if they want to put the money in, over the SEB cost. I see no reason why it can't be renovated.
Is it true, however, though, that your position with council is that if they fail to meet any requirements established by council, that the building should be then demolished?
Immediately at their expense and our process, correct.
Mr. Myers, you've worked with individuals on this property over the years who have had false starts, short starts, and slip starts, and did not follow through with their promise to rehabilitate the home. Is that correct?
That is correct.
In spite of that, in your inspection of the premises, did you find anything that you would determine that is structurally unsound, something that would require an immediate demolition of the property?
I do not. They rebuilt the foundation for structure of the floor and the restructuring of weight-bearing walls in the building. They just never completed them. So I don't see the reason that it would have to come down if completed and finished in a timely manner.
Now, that's based solely on your professional opinion of the structural integrity of the home. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you concur with the neighbors that it's become an unsightly eyesore over the years with the false starts and the false promises and the transfer of title, that it's become a game of kicking the can forward for someone else to deal with the problem, and you can appreciate their frustration. Is that correct?
I can very much appreciate that.
So if you were to ask council to adopt the order, would you paraphrase it again in terms of time? In the first 14 days, what do you require to be done?
3 items. They need to give us the entire cost of demolition based on my estimate of the demolition of the building. They need to give us a set of drawings that are complete so we can be approved and complied with state regulations for building. And number 3, they have to make the building safe and ready for protection while they're doing renovations.
Now, if you presume that they meet your requirements in the first 14 days, Mr. Myers, what is the next set of timelines to complete the work?
If the council so deems giving them the right to renovate, they have 6 months from today to give us a certificate of compliance or certificate of approval, which grants someone the right to move in and occupy the building as a healthy and safe residential again.
Now, is there a default provision in your proposed order consistent with that of the Dangerous Buildings Board for demolition of the property?
That is correct. We have that in place based on the recommendation and vote by the Dangerous Building. We also have the ZBA's approval a year and a half ago to accept the setback non-compliance of this property.
And have you considered the posting of some sort of a surety or bond to assure performance or to cover the cost of demolition?
It has to be done in the first 14 days from the time of this date.
So your ultimate fail-safe position is if they fail to comply with the orders of council and the Dangerous Buildings Board, then you would utilize the money to tear the building down?
And we will call that order on their dime.
All right. Mr. Mayor and council, I have no further questions of the witness here.
Is the owner of the property on the call? Is the owner of 17554 Ford Boulevard on the call? Okay. Are there any comments or objections to the demolition of this structure?
May I?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Tim Miller, resident. I was trying to make this real brief. Over 3 years ago, John closed this building up, had the tenants move out because the building was unsafe. Over 2 years ago, he took this in front of the Dangerous Building Board. The owner stated, "Oh, give me 6 months, this is my retirement." John gave him 6 months, 6 months on top of it. This was over 2 years ago. This neighborhood has been dealing with this thing, and the owner that has it now, he's had it for over 2 months. He has not bothered to secure the building. We've had people crawling in and out of the windows, looking at it. We've had homeless people crawling in since he's owned it. The ordinance officer has written that building up twice so far, and the owner has refused to even do a thing where the city contractor had to come in and correct both issues. And my understanding, he still hasn't paid those bills. And when the owner, the previous owner, Mark, sold it, right, he was cutting the grass every week, or should I say weeds, every week. He was taking care of it. And when he stopped cutting it. This new owner has not touched the grass. I was out there this morning looking at it. We have weeds that are over 28 inches tall. A lot of it's over 12 to 14 inches tall. So my opinion is this owner already has shown that he doesn't care. He doesn't care about this neighborhood, the city. We feel that he's thumbing his nose to us, just like the previous owner. So this has been going on for over 3 years, and now we're going to go all the way back through this again. How many buildings do we have in the city of Lincoln Park that's been going on for years? Enough is enough, and I ask you, please, for the neighborhood, for the residents that have to live here, please do not allow him to rebuild it. Let's do what should be done, and let's tear it down. The ceilings are falling in and everything else. His building is dangerous. I could crawl into it right now if I wanted to. I wouldn't, but you can. Thank you for your time.
Okay, sir, is there anyone else that has a comment or objection to demolition of this structure?
I have a comment, Your Honor. My name is Timothy Wales. I am a Ford Boulevard resident. I have lived here since 1950, my family, and that house has been a troublesome location ever since I was a child. Through the generations until now, it has been trouble. The residents here would really appreciate that it be demolished. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that has a comment or objection to the demolition of 17554 Ford Boulevard?
Mayor, I have another question for Mr. Myers, if you don't mind.
Oh, you want to do that under the...
Well, no, under the hearing here. This might be evidence for counsel. Mr. Myers,
Yes, sir.
if you're still listening, curiosity here on behalf of council and the public. The first timeline in your proposed resolution, should it be acted on by council, is 14 days. Would you indicate to council, should that not be adhered to by the property owner, meeting those requirements in the first 14 days from the issuance of council's order, what happens then?
If the 14 days and any one of those 3 items are not met, then it will be demolished by order of the dangerous building.
So the failure within 14 days from the approval of the order by city council, the approval of the minutes, the expiration of the appellate period, if they fail to comply, you would then petition for demolition and going out for bids.
That is correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, again, is there any person that has a comment or objection to the demolition of the structure? And the owner of the property is not in attendance. Okay, then we're going to adjourn the public hearing at 7:58, and we will move on to the action items.
Your Honor, the next 2 resolutions that are in there are out of order. They're not the ones that pertain to these 2 properties, and those are the ones that should be in there. Because we decided to continue the public hearing on the one on Fort Park, and Mr. Myers doesn't have the resolution regarding the requirements for the one on Fort Boulevard. We need to put something else in here tonight to mark that place, or just pull them from the agenda or something.
Well, what does the, well, John, work with me for a second here. Was the first one 1765 Fort Park?
Yes.
And what is the dangerous building number?
That,
One,
Terry, do you have that? 101.
21101?
Yes.
2021-01.
Okay, and then we have
1755 Ford.
Mm-hmm.
was the second address?
I was just reading through the, so as part of it, then July 6, 2021, for that aspect of it. And now the second one, we're doing 1755 Ford, and that is 21 dash what?
Nope, that's case number 19-06.
1906. Okay, and then this is July 6. All right, I think that we can, we can move ahead. All right, whereas the hearing board on dangerous buildings has made a finding and determination that the structure located at 1765 Fort Park, case dangerous building board number 21-01, is a dangerous building under ordinance 1444, and it issued its order that the structure be demolished immediately. Whereas pursuant to Chapter 1444 of the Lincoln Park Municipal Code, the Hearing Board on Dangerous Buildings has filed a report of its findings and a copy of its order with the council, and has requested that the council take the necessary action to demolish the structure. And whereas the owners and/or other parties of interest have neglected to comply with said order, and the said subject structure has not been made safe or demolished, now therefore be resolved that pursuant to sections 1444.08 of the Lincoln Park Municipal Code, the council hereby establish the date of July 6, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. or as soon thereof as the ordinary order of council business shall permit, as the date and time for a hearing to review the findings and order of said hearing board, at which hearings the owners or parties of interest shall be given the opportunity to show cause why the building should not be demolished. The building superintendent is directed to give notice as required by ordinance to the owner or parties of interest of such hearing date.
But we can't have that as today's date. We have to set a new hearing date, is what
Oh.
I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to interrupt, sorry.
Then what would the hearing date be then?
I would ask on behalf of the city that you push it out for 28 days, and if there's a problem, so I think that'll be the next appropriate meeting, Your Honor. Then I'll come back to council if that date doesn't work and ask you for another date. It depends on Judge Perkins and how quickly he orders that the estate be open and that the demolition be accepted.
Meeting in August or the second?
Maybe we shoot for the second meeting in August?
August is the first, and the first meeting, and then the second meeting of August is August 16th.
August 16th.
Okay.
I'll move on that with that date being in there.
And it would be continued to that date. Thank you.
So open that up for discussion. This is 1765 Fort Park. Council President, you had a question?
Well, I had one on the other house on Ford Boulevard, but that one's going to probate, right? On this one, I'm really not understanding what just took place. We had a public hearing meeting. Now, the owner has 14 days to comply, and I don't think he deserves 14 days to comply. So I feel
Well,
this house should be demolished immediately.
This is the Fort Park one. This is the one that is going to probate. This is 1765 Fort Park.
Okay, Ford Park, got that one. All right, so that one I'm fine with. The Ford Boulevard, the owner hasn't even showed up, so I'm all in favor. I got 33 residents signed a petition, got a resident been there since 1950s. This one needs to go. That's my opinion.
Council President, though, that we're dealing with the Fort Park address right now, though.
Oh, there we go again.
So is there
Wasn't
further?
there a lawyer that said that this is under probate, we gotta wait for a decision?
Yes.
And Mayor,
We're discussing.
Well,
Continued his hearing until the 16th of August.
well, this resolution, the hearing's already been concluded. Mayor, I want to make a point of order just before we muck up the resolution, if you don't mind. It was raised by Mr. Curzan, and he's correct. You did conclude the public hearing. We're just postponing action. So this resolution would be postponed until the next meeting. The mayor properly conducted a public hearing. All the evidence was presented. And all you're waiting on right now, council, is the order from the probate court, which presume is going to say demolish the property, deed the property to Lincoln Park, whatever Attorney Ross and the estate's trying to work out. So the city may end up taking title of the property commensurate with the order for demolition. So if 28 days should give us enough time, if it doesn't, I'll come back to council, ask you to continue it for another 28 days.
Well, it's been more than, I mean,
Right.
August 16th is when the,
I don't have to tell you, judges move slowly.
That's my opinion. This probate could go on for months, so just whatever you guys feel, August 28th, maybe they'll have a decision. If not, then so be it.
So,
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm done.
okay, but in reality, if it's not taken care of on August 16th, then it will be extended at that time because probate has authority over the property, and we can't do anything with that. So is there further discussion with this?
Yes, through the chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I would just like to know, since we are delaying this, is the home itself posted that it's a dangerous building and it's all boarded up and everything?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further discussion? All right, then clerk, call the roll.
Mayor Carnes,
Yes.
Councilman Higgins,
Yes.
Councilpersons Dupre,
Yes.
Kelsey,
yes,
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Toth.
yes.
Okay,
Okay,
now we're on board.
so we'll give this one a shot. Whereas the hearing board on dangerous buildings has made a finding and determination that the structure located at 1755 Ford Boulevard, case number DBB1906, is a dangerous building under ordinance 1444 and issued its order that the structure be demolished immediately. Whereas pursuant to Chapter 1444 of the Lincoln Park Municipal Code, the Hearing Board on Dangerous Buildings has filed a report of its findings and a copy of its order with the council and has requested the council to take necessary action to demolish the structure. And whereas the owners and/or other parties of interest have neglected to comply with said order and the subject structure has not been made safe or demolished. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to sections 1444.08 of the Lincoln Park Municipal Code, the council hereby establish the date of July 6th at 7:30 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the ordinary order of council business shall permit, as a date and time for hearing to review the findings and order of said hearing board, at which hearings the owner or parties of interest shall be given the opportunity to show cause why the building should not be demolished. The building superintendent is directed to give notice as required by ordinance to the owner or parties of interest of such hearing date.
And again, the July 6th date isn't correct, so.
Oh, all right. So
I was giving them 14 days.
So July 19th then.
July 19th is 13 days from today.
Okay, so August 2nd would be
August
the,
2nd.
Hold on. Didn't we just have a public hearing on this, Mayor?
yes, we just,
So what are we setting now?
Okay.
Could we pass on this resolution?
well, the city attorney has done discussion here with this. My question for the clerk is that this July 6th section of that is relating that we already had the hearing at this meeting.
Okay, so what you just read is the resolution that we use when we're going to set a public hearing for the future. There's a different resolution that gets used when we've had that public hearing and we're getting ready to demolish the property.
All right.
So, in effect, what you're doing is saying that you're going to bring this back before the council on August 2nd.
That's right.
And
Yes.
that's when we'll present the order, the resolution for the order to demolish, or. if
Well,
you
I would prefer not to wait on this.
Okay.
I mean, there's been a lot, so, I mean, if John could will you be able to get a resolution together on this, John?
The resolution really is requesting that based on the hearings of the Dangerous Building Board, that they give them a 60-day right to renovate the property and bring it back to compliance for occupancy.
No, this is, it would be a resolution to,
Renovate the building according to 1444 of our Dangerous Building Board. So the council has the right in the public hearing to reverse the Dangerous Building Board's request and recommendation to complete the project of putting this house back in operation in livable conditions. The public hearing just was expressed along with your written notices of 32 people to ask the council to deny the Dangerous Building Board's decision to renovate the property and make it a livable occupancy again. And that's where I think your vote is. The Dangerous Building Board's recommendation and resolution was to give them the right to restore it in 6 months from this date of this public hearing. I mismanaged out of my office the wrong resolution for them to make that decision. 2 weeks ago, we asked you to have a proposal, and today we were supposed to have the public hearing, and my office gave you the wrong resolution.
Got a technical problem there.
okay, let's, so,
Is Mr. Myers here? He and I can meet and we can come up with an alternate.
are you at City Hall, John?
And
So I'm going to send the city attorney to your office, and then
I'm not at the City Hall.
you're not?
No, but I can be there if you need me.
No, Your Honor.
No, we're going to, I think the
Down
city,
here.
what's that?
Ask Ed to come down to my office.
I'll come down to the clerk's
I
office.
have the resolution that we normally use, and he can take a look at that and pretty it up for me, and we can read it.
Okay, so I'm going to move this to the bottom of the agenda.
Okay.
If, I don't know
Okay.
how Robert's rules that we need to do that, but
Carnes rules of order.
I would say that we put it at the back of the, well, I'll move that we make this the 10th action item, to get the proper resolution together without having to delay this matter any longer.
I'll second it.
All right, do we have any discussion on the moving of the item to the last action item? Then the clerk call the roll.
Sorry, I had myself muted. So, did we have a mover on that?
I was the mover.
Okay, and who was the supporter?
Larry Kelsey.
Okay, so Mayor Carnes,
Yes.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Tobin.
Yes.
Okay.
And for those of you that are watching that are concerned about this property, I have to apologize for what's happening with this and the rigmarole that we're going through. But by the end of the night, we will have, the issue will be heard. I didn't want to put it off to another 2 weeks or so. Actually, 3 weeks, because no, 2 weeks. All right, then the next action items that we have. Has a cover letter from Doreen Christian, our Community Planning and Development Parks and Recreation Director.
Where are we at?
In 2017, the city instituted a homeowner exterior neighborhood improvement loan program with a maximum loan of $5,000. The purpose of this program was to address neighborhood blight by helping homeowners pay for needed repairs. Over the course of this past year, the cost of building materials has doubled and in some cases tripled. This being the case, the $5,000 loan value will no longer cover the cost of a roof. Therefore, it is requested that we increase the maximum loan value of this program to $10,000. So whereas the city instituted an exterior neighborhood improvement loan program in 2017 with a maximum loan value of $5,000, and whereas the cost of building materials has dramatically increased over the course of the past year. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the maximum loan value of the exterior neighborhood improvement loan program be increased to $10,000 and to update the CDBG policy and procedure manual to reflect that change.
I'll move.
Support.
All right, discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Alcido,
Yes.
Hoven,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes.
And the next thing is 2 resolutions to set public hearings for White and Rio.
Okay, and those were the two.
I think that you used on the other one.
Yeah. Okay, give me a second here. White was the first one,
Yes.
and July 19th, 2021 is the correct date.
Yes.
All right, very good. Whereas the Hearing Board on Dangerous Buildings has made a finding and determination that the structure located at 1035 White, case number DBB 21-03, is a dangerous building under Ordinance 1444, and issued its order that the structure be demolished immediately. Whereas pursuant to Chapter 1444 of the Lincoln Park Municipal Code, the Hearing Board on Dangerous Buildings has filed a report of its findings and a copy of its order with the council, and has requested that the council take necessary action to demolish the structure, and whereas the owners and/or other parties of interest have neglected to comply with said order, and the subject structure has not been made safe or demolished. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to sections 1444.08 of the Lincoln Park Municipal Code, the council hereby establishes the date of July 19, 2021 at 7:30 p.m., or as soon thereafter as the original order of council business shall permit, as the date and time for a hearing to review the findings and order of said hearing board, at which the hearings, the owner or parties of interest shall be given the opportunities to show cause why the building should not be demolished. The building superintendent is directed to give notice as required by ordinance to the owner and or parties of interest of such hearing date.
Move.
Do we have support?
Support.
I'm sorry, who was the mover on that?
Councilman Kelsey.
Okay.
So we have discussion, and then this is 1035 White. All right. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Alcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Whereas the Hearing Board on Dangerous Buildings has made a finding and determination that the structure located at 1533 Rio at case number DBB 21-02 is a dangerous building under the ordinance 1444, and issued its order that the structure be demolished immediately. Whereas pursuant to Chapter 1444 of the Lincoln Park Municipal Code, the Hearing Board on Dangerous Buildings has filed a report of its findings and a copy of its order with the council, and has requested the council take necessary action to demolish the structure. Whereas the owners and/or other parties of interest have neglected to comply with said order, and the subject structure has not been made safe or demolished. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to section 1444.08 of the Lincoln Park Municipal Code, the council hereby establishes the date of July 19, 2021 at 7:30 p.m., or as soon thereafter as the ordinary order of council business shall permit, as a date and time for a hearing to review the finding and order of said hearing board, at which hearings the owners or parties of interest shall be given the opportunity to show cause why the building should not be demolished. The building superintendent is directed to give notice as required by ordinance to the owner or parties of interest of such hearing date.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Next item has a cover letter from our Chief of Police, Raymond Waters. The Lincoln Park Police Department is requesting permission from council to waive the bid process and allow the police department to purchase 5 handheld pro lasers. Custom Signals Incorporated has provided the police department with a state bid quote of $10,975 to purchase the 5 lasers. The police department currently has 3 working handheld laser for traffic enforcement. With only 3 lasers on hand for officers to use, it limits our ability to enforce traffic violators. This addition will allow our officers to properly enforce the speed limits within the city of Lincoln Park. Whereas the Lincoln Park Police Department is requesting to purchase 5 Pro Laser 4 handheld lasers. Be resolved that mayor and council authorize the Lincoln Park Police Department to waive the bidding process and purchase 5 Pro Laser handheld lasers for a total cost of $10,975 from Custom Signals Incorporated, who is a My Deal participant. Be it further resolved, funds to come from city's capital account 101-001-983-00EQ14.
So moved.
Support.
So we have discussion?
Your Honor, I do have a question.
Yep, go ahead.
Not sure if I'm going to phrase this right, but here it goes. We were told in our earlier meeting that we don't have enough police officers on the road. So who exactly will be using this equipment?
Well, we have it, I mean, you have officers that are on the road. You currently only have 3, so if you have one that would be used for set or selective enforcement, or you have the possibility of an additional selective enforcement going out, that leaves only one for road patrol on their downtime. So if you had the additionals, then you could send every car out there, and when they have time between calls, they could utilize the laser. Am I talking out of turn, Chief?
Yes, sir, that's exactly right.
Okay.
Thank you for clearing it up.
Oh, that's all right. It's just having the equipment available to them when they need it, that's all. Further discussion?
Yes, through the chair, Your Honor.
Yes, go ahead.
Be remiss if I didn't ask this question, but why are we waiving the bid? Are there other companies that make these lasers, or is this a special deal, Chief, that you guys get?
Yes, so this is Florida State of Michigan's My Deal. State police has already went out to bid and got the lowest bid. So we just can't have their bid.
Thank you.
Okay. Further discussion? All right, clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Okay, the next item has a cover letter from our city manager, James Grzan. And it's the Marine Corps League Downriver Detachment number 153, applied for tax exempt status with the city assessor. The assessing office reviewed the application using established policy. Based on this policy, the assessing office denied the application. The assessing office, as well as most municipalities in the state, utilize the Michigan State Tribunal's 4-part test for these applicants. The 4-part test require: 1, real estate or personal property must be owned or occupied or used by an exemption claimant as of December 31st of each year. 2, the exemption claimant must be a library, charitable, or educational, scientific, or religious institute. 3, the claimant must be incorporated under the laws of the state of Michigan or other state in the U.S. 4, the exemption only exists when the building or other properties therein are occupied by the claimant solely for the purpose for which it was incorporated, as further limited by the applicable statute. The administration supports the decision of the assessing department, also recognizes the council may overrule this decision. The administration would not recommend this action take, as there does not appear to be a procedural error or misrepresentation of policy. Further, as typical, the role of the Michigan State Tax Attorney to decide these types of appeals. However, a resolution to do this is attached. The administration supports a different approach. The mayor and council should amend the exemption policy to include 501c3 veterans organization. This would create an environment consistent for further application. After adopting the policy change, the Marine Corps League can immediately reapply for tax exempt statute. Okay. Let's read the resolution and then we will go from there. Whereas the Office of the Assessor has evaluated the property tax exemption request application for the Marine Corps League Downriver Detachment number 153 and has denied the request. And whereas the mayor and city council can deviate from this determination made by Office of the Assessor should they deem the property tax exemption should be granted. Be it resolved that the mayor and council approve the property tax exemption request application for the Marine Corps League Downriver Detachment number 153, and I'll move on this.
Support.
So in discussion, we will go to Mr. Kazan.
So, just real quick point of order on this one. The resolution that you did just read is the one that would overrule specifically for this organization as opposed to the other resolution which would change the policy.
Yeah, we should come.
The two resolutions were provided. One was from assessing, giving you guys the ability to overrule, and then the other one was provided by myself to change the policy that would then allow for this organization and other organizations like it to be tax exempt.
That makes sense, Mayor.
Okay, so I will withdraw my my moving on the resolution with the. Is that good with the seconder, the person that seconded it?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So, we'll try this again. Whereas the City of Lincoln Park has a procedure and policy to evaluate applications for property tax exemptions, and whereas the City of Lincoln Park wish to recognize the sacrifices and service of veterans of the United States Armed Services, so be it resolved that the mayor and council hereby amend the city's property tax exemption criteria to include 501c3 veteran organizations as eligible for property tax exemptions. Then I'll move on this.
I'll support that too, thank you.
Okay, so in discussion then, with this being, if this were to be approved, and the question goes to Mr. Kazan, is the Marine Corps League, would they have to reapply, and would that take any time, or is this something that since we would make the change that they would be automatically granted?
Yeah, they already have an application on file. The assessing department can basically just re-review the application now with that policy in place. So there wouldn't be any delay.
Mr. Our assessor Bob is on the call. Is there any? Why I'm saying this is the organization has a vote coming up themselves, and it is timely. So will this cause a delay in the, if approved, would it cause a delay in the granting of the status?
No, they just have to own it.
Okay.
At this point, they don't own the property, so it's hard to be exempt to it for something that they
I gotcha. Further discussion?
the chair, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
I've got a couple questions, I guess. First of all, how is the, I see it's $3,500 estimated. They must have a place in mind that they're buying or going to buy, obviously. So let's put that out on the table. The other thing is that we're changing this, but we haven't changed it for the VFW that put on the Memorial Day parades for I don't know how many years, and the American Legion. So I'm just kind of curious of the timing. And does this mean if we don't approve this, the Marine Corps is not going to move to the city? I mean, I got a couple questions, Your Honor, through the chair that I'm kind of curious about. And I'm a veteran myself, so I'll put that right out there. Okay, I swear.
And if I can answer the first part, is
Yeah,
that
okay.
the VFW and American Legion are both tax exempt.
Oh, they are.
Is that true, Mr. Brazeau?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So it would be continuing on. So that part is they are exempt. The address that they're looking at, I think, is 1526 4th Street, and
Okay.
it would be the Steel Trap Tavern.
Okay. So they would be moving into the city then, right? Or
Yeah.
attempting to.
Yes, that would be,
Okay.
and would be an organization similar to the VFW or American Legion, but just for the Marine Corps.
Okay, my question then, my other question is the fact that if they don't have it yet, how do we approve something on the second resolution that's coming out? Now, this resolution, if the other people have it, I'm confused, Your Honor. If the other organizations, that, and I guess maybe Bob can tell me to the chair,
What-
if the VFW has it already and the American Legion has it already, why wouldn't the Marine Corps automatically be grandfathered in or qualified because they're in a similar situation? You know what I'm getting at? I'm confused. I mean, I don't understand that part.
A, they don't own the building yet,
Oh, okay, all right, sorry.
and that's kind of the baseline for it.
Okay, all right,
And the exemption won't hit until next year.
okay,
So, you know, the tax will have to be paid on the property for this year. But as of 12/31, they would be exempt, but they'd have to own the building.
I mean, let me interject here for a second. I think
sorry, Your Honor.
Councilman Kelsey was saying that, you know, why is the VFW and American Legion tax exempt if they don't fit this criteria?
Yeah.
So the question to you, Bob, is, you know, why would that be? And my belief is that the criteria was established after this was already granted to those organizations.
Correct. The state requires us to have a set of guidelines. We use these guidelines for every exemption. And it's essentially a point-based system. And it's done to keep the amount of exempt organizations from overwhelming the city. Taxpayers of Lincoln Park have to eat these costs. And, you know, we're trying to protect them, and that's why the state was very, very serious about putting this even on our 14-point review. That was one of the primary questions. You have this. Show it to us. Prove it.
Okay, but, and the second part for the councilman is that there's only going to be this resolution on the matter. Since they would meet the criteria, all that they would have to do would be to have ownership of the property to be exempt from taxes for next year.
Correct.
Is that right, Bob?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
So, through the chair, by doing this one policy, we're basically making it, you know, we're basically okay, right?
Yes.
Okay, and thank you, I was confused, I appreciate the time, Your Honor, and Bob explaining it to me, because I was kind of confused about all the, why all of a sudden when we've had all these and.
Yeah, you're not alone.
Well, I thank you for the time for the explanation, and thank you, Bob. Thank you. Thank you.
I have a question, Your Honor.
We have a point of order.
I want to advise council that if you pass the first resolution, I'm sure you know by now, the second resolution is not necessary.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Councilman Higgins, go ahead.
The way I read the resolution, true or not, does this mean we are changing our policy from here on and we don't have to, we will not vote on this again? For any club asking for this?
Now,
It takes a long time just for this club.
Any,
veteran organizations.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, 'cause Could you repeat that, please?
It would be a
Veterans
oh, go ahead.
organization.
Oh, veterans, okay.
So any veteran organization can come in and get this without.
501c3, they've got to meet all the guidelines, but yes,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
That's what I wanted clarification of. They would still have to meet the rest of the guidelines.
Yeah,
Yes,
Once, and to clarify, because I think Councilman Kelsey asked, but I'm not sure that I understood. When they apply for this tax exemption, it's good for 1 year, or is it good for forever?
it's essentially good forever.
Okay. Now, I have another question, because what is the difference, I guess I want to know why they wouldn't go through the Michigan Tax Tribunal appeals process. Is there a reason?
That would be their choice, but this kind of motion, this change in our policy would kind of eliminate that cost, because the tribunal's not inexpensive for them or for us.
Okay.
And like I said, James and I talked about this. I have absolutely no problem making this change in the policy. That's what you guys do, is you change this policy. We are hard on anybody that wants an exemption. And I think we're supposed to be. I don't think it's supposed to be a giveaway. And we've worked really, really hard to come up with a very neutral test, and these guys already meet that test. This just makes it easier for us if we have a veterans organization that meets all the criteria to deal with this.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Further discussion?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, yeah.
This is Don Santamon. I'm representing the Marine Corps League. I just want to make one point of interest here. The actually military is 501c4. The C3 is just a charitable organization. Military is 501c4. As the paperwork that we filed with Bob states, it's a 501c4.
Right.
And thank you for your time.
Okay, Bob, is that correct?
Yes.
And so the resolution should say 501c4?
Sure.
Is that good with the supporter?
Yes.
Then it's good with me. Thank you, sir. Further discussion? The clerk call the roll?
I'm sorry, Mayor Carnes?
Yes.
Councilpersons Dupre,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Tobin.
Yes.
There you go. All righty. Got papers all over the place here. This next item has been moved by Councilman Higgins and supported by Council President Salcido. Be it resolved, future city council meetings shall take place in person. Be it further resolved, future declaration of emergency or public health crises may void this resolution. So moving into discussion, the action, I guess, is predicated to when Wayne County declared a state of emergency, their health department, and continued it through to December 31st of this year due to the unknown situation with the variants that were coming. And under the recommendation of the emergency operations team, and particularly Chief Martin, that is what the action was, to do it to the end of August. But open it up for discussion. Yes, who is, Councilman
I'm not
Higgins,
sure
go
who
ahead.
is who.
I'll let Councilwoman talk first, there's no problem.
If I may, there is a concern on my side for the variant. It's hard to say one way or the other, but just as a personal concern, that is one of mine. I'm not voting against this, this is just a concern.
Okay. Do you have anything further, ma'am?
No, thank you.
All right, Councilman Higgins.
Yes, I just want to point out that the stores are open, the restaurants are open. Our own commissions are meeting in person, some of them. City Hall is open. People want to come to our city meeting, if they want to wear a mask, there's nothing to prevent them from wearing a mask. Just like if you go out in public, a lot of people are still wearing a mask. That's fine, wear a mask, be safe. And I always supported everything that the governor has done up to this point to make us safe. But I think at this point, we owe it to the public to open up.
Through the chair, Your Honor,
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I expressed my thoughts 2 weeks ago, so I was in support of this, obviously. But I do want council to talk, and I do appreciate you, Tracy. I still wear a mask if I go to Myers or if I'm going in a bigger place. I may bring a mask to council if this passes. So I would like to hear everyone on council chime in on how they feel about this. I wanted this to be discussed, so here's our opportunity. So I'm in favor of the resolution, but I'd like to hear everybody else's if they have an opinion. Thank you.
Through the chair, I was with Debbie Dingman here at Clementi today, and we toured the vaccine site. They both have great fear of this variant that's coming. Washington does. There's just no controlling it, and with the numbers that are surrounding us of unvaccinated people, especially younger people with this variant, I honestly feel that it's too early to take this chance and put people in danger. If you look at the numbers out of Detroit and how many people are vaccinated there, we're not there yet. And I would hate to bring something or have someone bring something to our residents or ourselves because we opened up too soon, we did this too soon, when we are being effective and we are making things happen the way we are now. I am not in favor of doing this yet. I think that we should wait, especially for a weather change, to see what this variant is going to do. That's my opinion.
All right, further discussion?
The chair, if I may.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yeah, I have the same concern, and I'll tell you why. We put our power into the fire department, police department, and medical personnel to make decisions. And Steve Martin and the rest of them on the committee have been really good about making the right decisions when we decided to close the concerts and so on and so forth. Obviously, things have changed. Councilman Higgins is correct. I was up north, but I was up north way before the variant was in and way before they were supposed to wear a mask. But that's neither here nor there. People are people. That's their choice. What I was getting at is that if we're going to make a policy, I'd like to see a consistent policy because, like Councilman Higgins was saying, if some of the commissions are meeting and some aren't, because I know that the Planning Commission is not meeting in person. I know that the Police Commission wanted to meet in person but couldn't because the Emergency Committee dictated that they shouldn't do it at this time. So our policies are all over the thing. I mean, I don't think that's good for us. I mean, I don't have a problem with the policy, but I think it should be consistent. And it should be given out as a consistent policy to the department heads and everybody else. I mean, we had an issue where we had a lot of people in for the concert, and we put them indoors because it was going to storm outside, and we did what we did. But what I'm saying is that I am not sure of that. I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be a doctor. I'm not a medical specialist. And we depend on people, department heads and professional people to give us advice. And if we're not going to take that advice or question it, that's fine. But the problem I got is that we had Steve Martin and the rest of them. I say Steve Martin because I see his name on the video there. I'm not picking on him or promoting him. But we have a position in The other thing is that we need to be informed as a council, what is the policy? Other than the fact that, yeah, we're not going to, then other departments start, and Councilman Higgins is correct. We're all over the place. We got people meeting, some people not meeting, okay? The other problem is we have a small council chamber. I think it's, what, 80 people? I'm not sure, but I think that's what the maximum capacity, or 60.
Yeah, 80.
80? Thank you. I was, I'm an older gentleman, my memory is not as good as it used to be. But anyways, long story short, I'm not in favor of it right now. Maybe in a week, 2 weeks, I don't know. But the reason I say that is because you're going to be mixing people in a small environment, and that's my concern. And I understand the councilman's concern, and I wholeheartedly agree with him. But my personal feeling is that, you know, I would not do it right now. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. Thank you for the time.
Okay, sir, further discussion?
Through the chair,
Yes, go ahead.
thank you, Your Honor. I have reservations myself. I trust and have put trust into the Emergency Management Committee, and I respect their decision or their recommendation. I think we need to consider that we're asking our department heads also to participate in our meetings, and we require them to be in person. When it's one thing if it is voluntary, you know, like the concerts or other things that are, you know, you have a choice to go. But if it is your job, you do not have that choice. And so I think we need to consider them as well. I don't know if anyone has asked any of the department heads, but I think, you know, that we need to consider them also. I do think that if the council chambers holds 80, how many does it hold with a little social distance? Because I'll be honest, I have reservations. I've tried walking into Meijer without my mask on, but find myself putting it on as soon as I walk through the door. I know that personally I'm not ready. And I certainly don't want to push that on anyone else. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Your Honor, through the chair.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
First of all, I respect the committee who made these decisions and what they suggest. But I believe that we are the ones who are elected to make decisions for this city. It is our responsibility, I believe, to stand up and talk about these things. Again, I totally respect what they're saying. The variant is out there and it is dangerous, but it's dangerous in everyday life and everything we do. We are asking our department heads and all our employees to come to work every day. We're asking our city hall workers to come to work every day. And some of them are working in very close periods together. Again, if you want to show up at City Hall and wear a mask, there's nothing to stop you. If you want to come into City Hall and sit away from other people, there's nothing to stop you. We never have a full house. We all know that. We never have a huge crowd. But there is plenty of room in City Hall for people to sit not on top of each other. And if you want to wear a mask, no one is preventing it. I think the public has a right to be at our meetings. And I'd like to point out that several cities around us have opened up. That's all, Your Honor.
Okay, sir, is there further discussion?
Through the chair, I'd like to hear from Steve Martin, somebody from the committee, Your Honor, if that's permissible. I mean, they made the decision. I'd like to hear their opinion. I was not at the meeting, nor did I see the document that, you know, not document, but I'd like to hear their opinion. I mean, it don't hurt anything. It's an open forum. It just gives me more information to hear if they don't mind responding about, well, why they, and Councilman Higgins brought up some good points. I mean, what was there, how did they make the decision? I mean, that's what I'm kind of asking. But that's really, if it's permissible through the chair.
Well, how the decision was made, and we'll have Chief Martin talk in just a second, was through reaching out to each of them individually with the council order, not the council, the county health department's order, and what did that mean, and what was their recommendation with that. But we'll go with Chief Martin. Chief?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, these decisions aren't taken lightly, and, we try to do the best we can with the data that we have. We didn't make up a special rule for Lincoln Park. This is something that came down from the state of Michigan, state health department. They offer guidance and options for us, including keeping the public meetings remote. We looked at the data, we looked at what was going on, and collectively we made that decision. We thought that was the best way to go. We can't make everybody happy. All we can do is look at what's offered to us, try to make the best decision that we can. I personally am in favor of keeping them remote. I don't see the point right now to rushing back. But I do know that it does hinder some business. There are some committees it's a lot easier to get some things done when you do have in-person meetings. Like I said, we looked at everything as a whole. That's the decision that we collectively made, and I still stand by that decision based on all the data that we review, all the data that we get from the state and the county, and I think that was the best decision. And I apologize if that causes anybody stress, and I know it does, and I apologize for that.
Thank you, Chief. Do we have further discussion? Then clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Dupre, you're muted, huh? Councilwoman Dupre's muted. There we go.
Sorry, I'm on my phone now.
Okay.
No, I vote no, thank you.
Kelsey,
No.
Ross, no. Tobin,
No.
and Mayor Carnes.
No, also.
That motion failed.
Okay, then the next item that we have, make sure I'm in the right spot. Okay. Whereas the city of Lincoln Park wishes to encourage citizens to participate in a benefit yard sale weekend. Whereas the city of Lincoln Park wishes to support a local nonprofit group by donating the permit fees for this weekend to Blessed Hope Church. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council hereby establishes September 10, 11, and 12, 2021 as the dates for the benefit yard sale weekend in the city of Lincoln Park. Be it further resolved that the permit fees collected for these dates will be donated to Blessed Hope Church to help their community programs. This has been moved by Councilwoman Dupre and supported by Councilman Higgins. We have for discussion, and the city attorney wants to be heard.
Mayor, if I might point out for council, although there's a meretricious purpose here, my opinion is that any use of public funds, public services to support a private organization, whether religious or business, in this instance would be a violation of Article 1, Section 4 of the Michigan Constitution. It's clear in the first paragraph. It's akin to the First Amendment in the U.S. Constitution, but it deals more specifically with the excise and exercise of public facilities and public funds to promote a private or nonprofit purpose. This is further complicated by the fact that it's working with a religious organization, and I would suggest to council that should you choose to move forward with this type of action, you're opening the door for the same treatment by any future request by any religious or other charitable organization or business organization for a date to be given the same due process and treatment, to waive fees, and to allow the funds collected by the city to be given to them. There are other ways you might handle this. One would be to have a free, no permit fee day, which is done in other communities, and suggest that they make donations to groups such as this, which is what you see happening in the stores and other businesses. But it's clearly inappropriate for a municipality or any state agency, and you are a creature of the state, to utilize public funds, public office, public staff, such as the clerical office, to support a private or nonprofit function.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I was under the understanding when this was brought up, it was going to be a free garage sale day, not donating to a particular charity. So I'm going to withdraw my support.
Through the chair, please.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
At the time that this was written, I didn't realize the state versus church versus state. Barry and I had talked on Friday, so just to have this in place, Blessed Hope was left there, but we did discuss another charitable organization that the city could, and it would be appropriate for city funds.
Well, I don't, through the city attorney said, I don't think that we can do it for any group.
Okay, I'm sorry, I could not hear Mr. Zomek, so I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
And Your Honor, in normal parlance, there's no harm and no foul here. There's an awful lot to remember in state statute and constitution, but you can't do it.
Are you hearing the city attorney?
Barely.
I'll try again. Can you hear me now? That's the weirdest thing to say with Zoom. I'll come forward, Your Honor.
Hang on just a second. I'll put that over here. And then
There we go.
The previous comments I made indicated that it is a meretricious purpose that council has to do something like this, but it would clearly violate Article 1, Section 4 of the Michigan Constitution, paralleling the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. So you cannot provide for either private or public purpose the direct expenditure of public office, public employees, or public funds. So if you want to have a free garage sale day, that's proper, but to utilize the resources to collect the monies and provide efforts in providing licenses and other permits at public expense would be improper. And I don't think there's any fault in council not knowing that. There's an awful lot to know in terms of law, and you can't be expected to know everything.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
you can, Ed. We expect you to know everything.
And I just lost my audio, so I have to dial back in.
Okay. So we have options here. If it was good with the mover and supporter, we could have this be a free yard sale weekend. I think we've done that in the past for those same dates. If they wish to amend it to that.
I would be fine with that.
Okay, and we lost,
We need the mover to log back in here.
okay. We'll give it a second.
A quick question in for the attorney. Your Honor, can I throw a quick question in?
Yeah, sure.
For the,
No, go ahead. We'll wait.
I'll speak louder
if
for
we
you.
said we want to charge the residents $2, and that $2 will go to the parade fund, Memorial Day fund, would that be legal?
That's a separate group that fits into the same guidelines.
Sure.
But you can't use city resources, the city clerk's office, the treasurer's office, those works, and then have it go to an organization.
We lost him.
For that?
Okay, so Councilwoman, what I suggested, which was good for the support, but for the supporter, was to make the 10th, 11th, and 12th of 2021 as a free yard sale weekend.
That would be fine. In fact, that was initially my idea, and somebody had said we already had that. So if that's acceptable, that would be lovely.
Well, many organizations, many cities do a summer and a fall, and that's pretty close to the fall. So would that amendment be good to you as a mover?
Absolutely.
All right. Is there further discussion on the motion? Then clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Dupre,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Potts.
Yes. Next item we have is resolved that the residents of the 1400 block of Chandler, which is between Russell and Seacott, be granted permission to have a block party on Saturday, July 14, 2021, from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. under the following conditions. One, that the streets be barricaded at each end and closed to vehicular traffic. Two, that the party be over by 9 p.m. or dusk, whichever comes first, and that the street be reopened to traffic, per the recommendation of the police department.
I'll move.
Support.
All right, discussion?
I have a question to the chair.
Yes, sir.
In the past, we had to have every signature from everybody on the block to have a block party. And I see addresses on the sheet with no name on it. Could somebody give me a policy on that?
Well, in the past, I mean, through, my time in the police department up in the last, as long as you had several signatures on it, it was fine, but we'll go to Carrie on that.
It's because of all the vacant homes that we had, we just went with the majority of the occupied homes. So we started doing that a couple of years back when people started, forfeiting their homes, and we had so many vacant properties. Because people didn't know who the owner was and couldn't get a hold of the owner, and nobody was living there, and so we started simply using a simple majority of the homes in the block.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Then, so is there further discussion? Then clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Katz.
Yes. All right, then we have what was originally in the consent agenda to be the next item, which is has a cover letter from Julian Christian, Community Planning Development, a resolution to solicit bids for closed-circuit camera system at Kennedy Memorial Building and the Community Center. City received a grant from Wayne County in the amount of $50,000. The approved project is for closed-circuit camera system for the Kennedy Memorial Building and the Community Center. Whereas the City of Lincoln Park received a 2020-21 Wayne County Park millage funding for closed-circuit camera systems at the Kennedy Memorial Building and the Community Center. Therefore, be it resolved that Doreen Christian, Parks and Recreation Director, is authorized to solicit bids for the closed-circuit camera systems at the Kennedy Memorial Building and the Community Center.
I'll move.
I'll support the discussion.
Okay, discussion?
Through the chair. The only problem I have with this, I mean, I think it's wonderful to protect the band shell and Memorial Center. It needs to be done because of the stuff that happens there. But my problem with this is cameraing room A, where the bands use as dressing rooms, and also sometimes the dance classes when they get their costumes and that. And just like at the community center, how they're not cameraing the locker rooms, I think room B should be exempt from this camera, because of the fact that there are musicians changing, there are dance students changing. I just think it's more appropriate that would be without camera, just for the intent of it being used for those things, and like a private dressing room or a changing room to try on costumes. And I just would think that would hinder any kind of problems down the line. And I know someone's going to say, well, we'll turn the cameras off. But at the same time, I know we've all heard those stories, and that video gets out there, and I have a concern with that.
All right, Doreen, are you on the call?
Due to the fact that Dennis Anderson was the one who did everything with us, I'm going to turn this over to him because he did the walkthroughs with everybody.
Okay, so Dennis, I see you, so go ahead.
Mayor and Council, that's an easy change. That was an oversight on my part. We'll move the room B camera to the stairwell facing the stage door. That way it won't cover the room, it'll cover the entrance to the room. It'll also cover the stage door. It will not cover the restroom areas, which if you look at the community center cameras, none of those cameras are facing any locker room entrances or doorways, the restrooms or anything. So it'll be the same, basically the same thing. That's an easy switch.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
So further discussion?
Yes, to the chair, Your Honor, if you don't mind, briefly.
Go ahead.
I know that $50,000 is generous for both, but I know it does cost a lot, but are you guys anticipating, because in my history, I know there's a company that sells the cameras, and then there's a company that installs them. So I know there was like 4 pages of the itinerary. So how are you going to go about that? Is it going to be one company doing everything for both facilities?
That's what we are hoping for. We're looking to have one company provide a system that is the exact same in both buildings, so that it's interchangeable. We're not using 2 different systems. We don't have to. If there's a problem with a piece of equipment, we don't have to play a game of who bought what.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Okay, further discussion?
Your Honor, I would just like to add, I know it's not part of this particular vote, but we've talked about many times about putting cameras in the park, and I hope that it's looked at down the road.
Very good.
Your Honor?
Yes, go ahead.
If I may, if you look on both buildings, we are covering a good amount of area outside of the buildings. The playground area around the community center here is going to be covered by an exterior camera. It'll actually be covered probably by 3 exterior cameras, including the restroom areas and the pavilions. The bandsaw we would have 1 or 2 cameras that'll possibly be covering the playground area across the street and the surrounding area around the building.
It is good news.
Okay. So further discussion? Then clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Frey,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Parks.
Yes. So the next item that we have, Ms. State Clerk, do you have that resolution?
I do.
And can you read that then?
Kind of worked out.
So it'll be whereas the Dangerous Building and Court Appeals Board issued an order to fix, make safe, or demolish the structure located at 1755 Ford, said order being issued subsequent to the hearing of the facts pertaining to this matter and identified as DBB 1906 1755 Ford, which was held on, when was it? I don't have that date. I'll get it.
June 24th.
Okay, in accordance with section 144404 of the codified ordinances of the city of Lincoln Park, and whereas the Dangerous Building and Code Appeals Board has filed a report of its findings and a copy of its order with this council and with each party having a recorded interest in the subject property, and whereas the city council has established the date of July 6, 2021, the date for a hearing to review the findings and order of said board, now therefore be it resolved that this matter be held until August 16th to allow the owner to repair the structure according to the recommendation of the building official.
I'll support for discussion.
I have a question to the chair, if I may.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I don't think that's what we talked about, that resolution. Am I correct, Your Honor?
No, that's the resolution that the building department wanted and was submitting. I mean, obviously, as a board here, that we could either amend that resolution or defeat it and give our own. I'm of the opinion that to move to amend the motion to go with the immediate demolition of 1755 Ford Boulevard.
I would second that.
Yes.
Don't need to read anything else?
Who's the second on that?
I was.
Kelsey. Thank you.
Okay, so do we vote on the amendment and then we vote on
Vote on the
the...
amendment and vote on the original resolution.
So,
But the amendment would be the language to demolish. Would you inquire whether the mover on the original resolution and the supporter would accept the amendment in place of the original resolution?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then you're okay. Then just you vote on the amendment and that's it.
Okay, and then, and the amendment...
Clerk's got a better idea.
And the amendment is to,
I'm fine with that.
is to immediate demolition.
Immediate demolition.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, then further discussion.
All right, can you repeat the amendment, please?
Well, it says, it's been changed, and it's basically, it's order of council for the demolition of the structure at 1755 Ford Boulevard.
Thank you.
Okay, and if we're going to do that, then we should add the remaining portions of that thing that are generally on there that says that the Director of Public Works is hereby directed to comply with the order of the board as approved by council after 20 days from the date of this resolution, and be it further resolved that the Director of Public Works shall determine the date of demolition and notify each party of interest as required by section 1444 of the codified ordinances, and be it further resolved that the cost of the demolition shall be assessed against the real property on which said structure is located. Such cost shall be reported to the city assessor, who shall place said lien.
Yes, that's...
If the mover and supporter are okay with adding
I am good with that.
general language on there.
I am good with it. And then,
Ross?
Yep.
all right, then do we have further discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, then clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Ross?
Yes.
Mayor Carnes?
Yes. I thought I moved on this, though.
I'm sorry, I have you guys backwards then.
Okay.
So Mayor Carnes?
Yes.
Councilpersons Ross?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Higgins? Kelsey?
Yes.
Tito?
Yes.
And Tobin?
Yeah.
Okay, then, we didn't have any other action items hidden there, did we? We can, all right, so
Claims payable.
we have accounts and claims payable. The first item, Blue Cross Blue Shield, was, check was released for the due date. So resolved that accounts and claims payable for those items greater than $25,000 be approved as follows. Blue Cross Blue Shield, July 2021 retiree med advance plan retirees and actives, $207,777.71. Audia Concrete, 2021 concrete sectional program, $224,565.71. GV Cement, 2021 concrete reconstruction program, $114,603.74. GFL Environmental, July 2021 residential curbside recycling and yard waste in city buildings, $198,867.74. Hutch Paving, 2021 asphalt resurfacing, $204,876.93. Michigan Municipal Workers' Comp 7/1/2021 through 7/1/2022, $253,372. State of Michigan MDOT River Drive reconstruction, $92,581.70. City of Riverview May 2021 dumping services, $33,728.80. Okay, discussion? Then clerk call the roll.
I'm sorry, who was the mover and supporter on that?
I moved, I think I did, I'm not sure.
That's who I thought it was, but I thought it was Maureen that seconded it.
We'll go with that.
Okay. All right, so councilpersons Kelsey?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes.
And
So-
I'm all night, so I wasn't sure.
We've reached the point for our city manager's report, so Mr. Krazan?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody did have an excellent 4th of July weekend. The weather seemed to be pretty fantastic, which was a blessing. So the mayor quickly mentioned the rain event that took place on June 25th, and I do want to make note that in general, it seems that that rain event somehow went around us. We get hit with a good amount of rain, but nothing like Dearborn, nothing like the communities to the east of us, the Grosse Points and all of them. We got hit with about 2.8 inches of rain over about a 10-hour period, as opposed to the 7 inches of rain that Dearborn experienced, the 6.5 that Garden City experienced. And we did have a couple basement backups that were reported, but nothing like a lot of other communities. So we really dodged a bullet on that one, which we needed. So a couple quick follow-ups from the last meeting. There was some discussion about the issues with the internet. We are working with our IT company to try and find a solution. It seems like it's a Wi-Fi issue that happens. The bandwidth on the Wi-Fi, I think, is just not there. Some options we're looking at is potentially hardwiring council chambers, as well as trying to boost the Wi-Fi signal. Also, I was asked about the city's long-term debt, and I sent some information out on that. And if you guys would like, I can try and put together some more information on that. But in general, that was a pretty good summary of what we have. The mayor also did mention the Ecorse Creek cleanup that's taking place this weekend, so I do want to throw it out there. The committee is still looking for volunteers, so please feel free to come out and roll up the sleeves. It's a really good event. We get a lot of volunteers out. A couple other things happening around the city. Our Summer Kids program is underway, and I'm sure Doreen was going to mention some of this, but they have just been having a blast, and they've taken off, and they're doing a great job with that. We do now have 2 of our sweepers back and functioning. I've seen that they've been out. I'm really happy to report that they are moving through the city. And I do think this is an excellent opportunity to remind everybody the 4th of July is a big fireworks holiday. The city does have an ordinance against that does prohibit fireworks throughout most of the year. However, we are preempted by the state, and we do have to allow fireworks on certain days and certain stretches of days, of which we have finally just come out of one of those stretches. So we should be a little quieter around town now. So if you're hearing people lighting off fireworks in violation, please call the PD and let them know. With that, I'm happy to take any questions anybody would have for me.
Through the chair, James, is that the county creek cleanup this week, or is that our city cleanup?
So we have there's actually a committee. It doesn't have anything to do really with the county. We try and get them involved sometimes when we can, but this is a group. It's the Ecorse Creek Committee.
Okay.
And so there's 3 cities involved. There's us, Ecorse, Wyandotte, the Friends of the Detroit River are involved. We've got a couple. We've got the Michigan State Extension. There's a whole group that's involved that come together to put this on. So there's 3 cleanups happening at the same time in the 3 different cities. So we're all working together, which is really fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That is really great.
And actually, I'm glad you said something, because I do want to mention there's actually 3 of them happening this year. The second Saturday of the month in July, second Saturday of the month in August and September. So we've increased the efforts through a grant. I don't remember exactly where the grant came from, but we got a grant to help pay for additional cleanup efforts.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Anything else for the city manager? Yes, sir, go ahead.
I'm just gonna ask about my telephone poles I've asked about and see if we know anything, one in Memorial Park and, one right over here by City Hall.
Let me see if I could find real quick the latest email from, so they were going out to look at them. I'll have to follow up again because I haven't heard anything in a little bit, but they have sent, it's been escalated to a station manager for some cleanup, so I'll follow up again. I haven't heard anything in, it looks like, a week and a half.
They're still there.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Council's chiming in. Two quick questions, James. The DPS study that was done by an outside firm, do you have a report on that? And also, as our tree service, our new tree service company, are they aware of the big undertaking that lies ahead of them?
As far as the DPS evaluation report, I don't have a report yet. I think it's still probably going through. I think she's still doing some interviews remotely now. She came on site to do some. She finds that typically a lot of the DPS guys like to do in-person interviews. I believe she's still scheduling some virtual interviews, and then we should have a report not too long thereafter. As far as the tree company, I certainly hope they know what they've got. We got enough work to keep them busy. So.
All right, thank you. I'll keep in tune.
Anything else for the city manager?
For the chair, if I may, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
James, did you get, first of all, thank you for all the information you sent, including the debt thing. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I know you're serving a lot of masters, so I really appreciate you sending that. Thank you. Did we get the court audits yet? I thought the court was supposed to send them to us at the end of June when we had a Zoom meeting, if I'm not mistaken.
We have not, as far as I am aware, we have not received a updated court audit. From the conversations Lisa and I have had, it does sound like the auditor was very, very close to finishing in fiscal year 17. And was starting to gather information for fiscal year 18. So it's moving a little bit, but we have not yet received an audited financial statement.
Could you, through the chair, to the city manager, could you please send a friendly reminder to the judge that he did say in the Zoom that he would have them all done at the end of June? And I'm just asking because of the issues we have, just as a friendly reminder. I'm not saying anything, just to say, hey, you know, remember, you kind of said you forget it.
Right.
That's all. I mean, I'm not putting on your own words, but the other two things that I have is, did you ever get a chance to call the CVS pharmacy guy about the flu shots?
I have not yet, but I have it. I'm actually staring at the card right now. Like, no joke. It's right in front of me, but I will.
All right, the last thing was the police slide. Could I get a copy of what Chief Waters did tonight, hard copy, please?
Yeah, I can try to get some. I don't have any on hand, but we can.
Oh, no, I meant, yeah, I apologize, I forgot to ask the chief when he was on.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much. That's all I had, Your Honor. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Very good. Anybody else for the, any other council for, yes, go ahead.
James, did we hire an events coordinator?
We are very close, I think. We had somebody come in and do the testing for it. We're waiting on the results there, and then we'll move to the next step.
Nice.
So we actually had a number of people test for various clerical positions as well over the last week.
Our employment opportunities have dropped down to just like 4. That's amazing.
For now.
For now.
For now.
And could you please forward the building reports and the LP Pride report, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else for the city manager? All right, then hearing none, then we will move on to the department head report, community development block grants and parks and recreation. Doreen Christian. Doreen?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We just got through with our HUD monitor for our last program year. I am pleased to report that we pressed the monitor. He loves our operations manual. He loves the programs that we're picking to submit and to actually fund, because he says that we're one of the cities that actually followed through with getting it to the low moderate-income families, and he's very impressed on what we are doing with our funding, which made me breathe a sigh of relief, because he scared the daylights out of me. I'll be honest with you. He was intimidating at times, but we should be getting a follow-up report. There will be findings. There's always findings. But overall, generally, we did very good on the report according to him. We have our 5-year master plan and our annual action plan ready to be submitted to HUD, but it's still been put on hold by Wayne County. Due to that fact, I went ahead and I contacted my rep, and I got us pushed through for the Lafayette water main project. So we are good to go on that. We are good to everything we're doing. It's above board. I've done everything we possibly can. The mayor has signed everything. Everything's ready to roll on it, and we're going to have, the only problem is we're going to fund it first, and then once the money's released, I can put it all in at once and get it all back for a month. So it's not going to hold that project up at all. And the same thing is going on. We're doing the 2020 road project. So we've got some major money we're going to be spending with CDBG on those 2 projects within the next few months, which brings me to the point that we didn't make our timeliness because of COVID again. But within these 2 projects, we will be flying clear of that. And next year, we won't have that issue at all. We will be right on par again. We just have to keep it that way. And hopefully COVID will not come and kick us in the butt again, hopefully. With that, that's about all I've got going on the CDBG end. I'm going to be working on the end of year paper. I've got one more draw to do, and you'll be getting your plans as soon as I get them all binded and put into your boxes. If there's any questions when you go through it, it's very dry reading. I'm sorry. But that's what HUD expects us to have. And if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them. Just email me or call me, and we'll get through it. Then on Parks and Rec, well, as you well know, we've got Van Shell painted. We are going out for bid for the cameras. We will be going out to bid. The rest of that money is going to be going towards park equipment across the street to update that equipment. I'm waiting to find out what all our bids come in for with the cameras and have that all set, so the remainder of the money can be used for the park equipment. When we do the park equipment across the street, I am looking to them to do the whole thing. I want the landscaping properly put in. I want the mulch properly put in. So all we have to do is open it up and say, kids, have fun. We will be going out for RFPs on this because of the cost involved, and follow the protocol. It'll be an RFP program. Dennis and I will go over and have them come in and approach us and show us exactly what their money can buy. And we can sit down and take this over and look and check and make sure everything is what we need it to be. Then I know next year I think we have to do our 5-year plan for Parks and Rec again. So that'll be coming up in the next year. Certainly we'll have to put it into the budget and start going out for bids on that. And at that point, that's about it that's going on right now.
Darian, I have a couple of things. One, you mentioned that the area across from the band shell, the old tennis courts there. What's the plan for them?
Well, right now we don't have a plan for that. We have to figure out where the electricity for those poles is coming from. I know Don Cook was trying to find it out. We have to actually figure out where is that being fed from, because we really don't want to start digging anything up, because there is electricity out there. We got to figure out where it is, get it cut, and get it done with. And then I don't have anything set for the area. If you have any suggestions on what to do with the area, someone brought up pickleball, but that area is constantly flooded, and you would have to take care of that drain situation there. to open it back up, and the concrete would have to be all redone. And there's only one gentleman that wanted to bring pickleball in, and I have never seen any of our seniors or anybody approach me about pickleball.
Well, I've been
Just one
approached.
guy.
I've been approached for like a skate park for skateboarders. There's been discussions on like a disc golf situation, those types of things. The other things that I had were the two, there used to be kiddie pools. One's at the youth center park and the other's at by Pond School. I mean,